Princess Diana is one of the most famous and celebrated women in the world and a style icon. She was ahead of her time, unafraid to push boundaries and royal etiquette. She really made a difference, and she also changed the royal family forever. Katie Nicholl, author of Harry and Meghan, says, "I think Diana's legacy must be her enormous capacity for supporting the most vulnerable in society. She used the unique position she had to shine a spotlight on those who had no voice." A few years before Princess Diana passed away, she had written a will stating her final wishes in the event of her death, including what she would leave to her sons William and Harry, who were just 15 and 12 when their mum died. She originally signed her will in 1993 but amended it in 1996, just 1 year before her death. In the official document, she asked that almost everything she owned was to be divided between William and Harry. The rest of her possessions were split among her 17 godchildren, and she left £50,000 to butler and confidant Paul Burrell. Diana's mum, Frances Ruth Shand Kidd, and sister, Lady Elizabeth Sarah Lavinia McCorquodale, were co-executors and trustees of the will. As for her estate, reports suggest the princess wanted it to be placed in a trust which William and Harry would have access to when they turned 25. But Frances and Lady Elizabeth were legally allowed to make a few changes to the will after her death, and they decided to increase the age the boys could access the estate to 30. This meant that when Harry turned 30 in 2014, Diana's final request was finally granted and they were given her most treasured possessions, including her iconic wedding dress. Certainly, Diana breathed new life into the monarchy when she walked down the aisle of St. Paul's Cathedral on July 29, 1981, in her David and Elizabeth Emanuel puffball gown, watched by a global television audience of more than 750 million. The stunning ivory dress, which she wore when she married Prince Charles in 1981, became one of the most famous gowns in history. The brothers got the dress after it went on a global tour to be viewed by well-wishers. During its time on tour, the dress was the centerpiece of an exhibition which raised money for the Diana, Princess of Wales Memorial Fund. It also made its way across the pond, where it was displayed at the Cincinnati Museum Center in the U.S. for 6 months. Many believe that William and Harry were Princess Diana's greatest achievement. By the time they announced the plans for her memorial, the two boys who touched the hearts of the nation as they walked behind their mother's coffin in 1997, had grown into admirable young men and remained the closest of brothers. But fast forward 4 years, and the legacy of the people's princess is in danger of being overshadowed. Although both William and Harry are expected to be at Kensington Palace's Sunken Garden on Thursday, which would have been their mother's 60th birthday, for the unveiling of the memorial, they are now sadly estranged. Relations are said to be at an all-time low, to the point where it's difficult to see how they might be repaired. According to Ingrid Seward, editor-in-chief of Majesty magazine, "I think Diana would be quite unhappy about it. She always wanted them to look after each other and be the best of friends. She might be proud of Harry for having the guts to move to America, but I think she would be sad that he was so far away." Towards the end of her life, she considered moving to America, but then she realized she would be too far away from her boys. Both Charles and Diana always wanted their sons to be treated equally, even though William was the future king. Diana used to call her youngest son Good King Harry, or GKH for short, because he was so happy-go-lucky, and even confronted the Queen Mother when she felt she was showing favoritism to William. However, there is still hope for the future. Despite their current rift, both William and Harry have inherited Diana's common touch and her ability to reach out to people in a way that hadn't been done before she arrived on the scene. In 1987, Diana opened Britain's first HIV/AIDS ward at London's Middlesex Hospital, shaking hands with patients and publicly challenging unfounded fears that you could catch AIDS through touch. 10 years later, she walked across a minefield in Wombo, central Angola, raising the profile of the work being done to clear landmines around the world and paving the way for the United Nations Mine Ban Treaty. Notably, Harry has followed in her footsteps, setting up his charity Centibale in 2006, providing psychosocial support for children living with HIV and AIDS in southern Africa. And during his 2019 royal tour of South Africa, he walked through a minefield during a visit to Diriko, Angola, to see the work of the landmine clearance charity the Halo Trust. William, too, has kept his mother's legacy alive in his charitable work, choosing the homeless charity Centerpoint, where Diana took him as a child, as his first patronage. Both he and Kate have been visible during lockdown working on their Heads Together campaign, a subject close to Diana's heart as she herself suffered from depression, bulimia and mental health problems. And Kate's work in the early years field would surely have impressed her late mother-in-law, who loved children from the moment she worked in a nursery school before she became royal. Ingrid Seward says Diana wanted her legacy to be the work she did on landmines, but that's not necessarily the way things have worked out. Most people would hope that, had she been here to celebrate her 60th birthday, she would have finally found true love, peace and happiness in being a figurehead for the vulnerable in society, as well as a mother of 2 and grandmother of 5. Princess Diana would have been very upset about her son's current rift, according to her royal biographer. In a recent appearance on the UK talk show Loose Women, Andrew Morton, who worked closely with the late royal in writing her 1992 biography, Diana, Her True Story, weighed in on how Diana would have felt about Prince William and Prince Harry's ongoing feud. Morton also predicted that, if Diana were alive today, she would be working actively to help her sons repair their relationship. When Prince Harry and Duchess Meghan sat down for their headline-making interview with Oprah Winfrey in March, their long list of grievances and allegations against the royal family shocked the world. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex discussed claims of racism within the institution, and the mental cruelty they allegedly suffered that became the final straw in their decision to leave. But sources say those issues were not reason that Harry decided to spill so much royal tea. Harry reportedly agreed go forward with the interview with Winfrey less than 24 hours after learning a decision had been made that was deeply hurtful to him and may have sent him on a course seeking revenge against the royals. This week, multiple news outlets in the UK reported that after Harry was told he would be stripped of his remaining military titles, his anger led him to agree to sit down with Winfrey. The Queen made the decision weeks before the terms of the Brexit agreement, including the topic of Harry's military titles, were scheduled to be up for a one-year review. The Daily Mail reported the prince was furious after learning he was going to lose his military affiliations, after serving for 10 years, including 2 tours in Afghanistan. Royal expert Richard Fitzwilliams told the outlet the Queen's decision to take back the titles would have likely left Harry feeling extremely angry, and may have led him to seek revenge. When Archie was born, the couple was said to not want a title for their son because they wanted him to have a normal life, but it was actually because they didn't like the one he was entitled to. They concern Archie would be bullied about the somewhat awkward title of the Earl of Dumbarton. The Daily Mail reports a source close to the Sussexes said Charles has told Harry and Meghan that he plans to change the legal documents that would cause Archie to not get the title he would have previously inherited by right. Charles's plan has been subjected to much speculation, and it has been reported that when he becomes king, only heirs to the throne and their immediate families will receive titles, financial support from the sovereign grant, and security paid for by the British taxpayers. The Daily Mail reported that the decision incensed the Sussexes and was believed by several sources to have added fuel to the fire of the couple's already fractured relationship with the Prince of Wales. Winfrey was said to be courting the couple for a long time in hopes of getting an interview, and it all came down to a confluence of events that blew up everything.
Thank you for watching. If you liked, feel free to leave a comment below. Don't forget to subscribe and click the bell icon to get new video updates. We will update the latest videos about the royal family every day. Thanks and goodbye.